now. It's Karen and here for Karen and Bluto, another review channel with another movie review. These next couple we're doing, Bluto actually did not watch with me.
It was nice outside.
Yeah, and he didn't have an interest in watching this, and I actually think I liked all three of these. But anyways.
But I'm here because I'm dedicated
to
the channel.
Well, it's Karen and Bluto, so it's not Karen and Bluto without Bluto here.
Nope.
So, movie I'm going to review with you is Captain Marvel, 2019. It was out in March of this year. PG-13, 2 hours and 3 minutes. But it had like 10 minutes of credits at the end, so it was really like an hour and 53 or something like that. I will say up front, it did not seem like it. I was enthralled in the movie the whole time. I love superhero action movies. I don't think I mentioned that previously. If they're good, there's some bad ones. But this one, I'll get into it. I mean, there is a lot of CGI in this, which I know this one doesn't like, but I feel for movies like this, they can't be done properly without the CGI in it.
Well, then they shouldn't do it.
So the only reason why I was going to see Avengers Endgame, the last movie with the Avengers, but I was holding off because everybody kept saying about Captain Marvel being in it, and I didn't get a chance to see Captain Marvel in the theater before Endgame came out. And after I finding out Endgame was like 3 hours long, there was no way in hell I was sitting in the theater watching it. I'll rent it and watch it at home when I can pause it.
That's too long.
Yeah. So anyways, let's get into Captain Marvel review.
Right.
It starts out on Hala, I believe it's the name of the planet, with the Kree civilization, and we meet this character, Varys.
What?
Varys, I think is how...
I thought you said vigorous.
No, Varys. And basically, Varys is having this dream sequence, and she does not remember her past.
Oh, it's a she.
Yeah. So I think in the comics, Captain Marvel is a male, but I know they've been doing some gender swapping on some of the characters. I'm not real familiar with Captain Marvel's background. So I'm hoping the movie was correct in what it was, but it's not a character I'm familiar with.
Batman in this?
No. That's DC. This is Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Yeah. I don't think you like Marvel. But anyways, she goes and meets with the commander of this group she's a part of. They're discussing about how she needs to control her powers and everything else. So she ends up meeting with the Supreme Intelligence. And basically, the Supreme Intelligence is like, you know what, you have to put the needs of the people before your needs. And they're giving her a chance to prove herself by going on this mission. So they're supposed to be going to retrieve one of their spies that has possibly been kidnapped by this civilization called the Skrulls.
Skrulls?
That's how they're...
Like the Dead Skrulls?
I don't know. That's how I was spelling it. I'm not sure how it's really spelled.
Okay.
But basically, they are these enemies. Basically, they go in. It's Veers. I can't remember the commander's name and a few other people. What it comes down to, Veers tries to go in to rescue their spy, and it ends up being an ambush, and she gets captured.
There we go, woman getting captured.
Yeah. So the other people retreat, and they're like, okay, we got to, save her and everything. So basically it goes to, like, she's being hung upside down in this energy thing, and they're trying to go through her memories. And then it comes down to this one person, this woman that she keeps remembering. Her name was Wendy Lawson, and she was a doctor on Earth.
Okay.
And she apparently designed this light speed engine that the Skrull want in order to win the war between the Kree. So basically she fights, escapes, and then she takes one of their emergency pods. She ends up crashing onto the roof and then into a Blockbuster Video.
Tell you something I would do.
With a Skrull, the Skrulls are following her. So basically, this movie takes place in '95. I think I figured out from a couple other things. Well, it's a great soundtrack. It was all this '90s music that I wanted to check and make sure was all out, either in '95 or before then. But I totally forgot to do that
90s
before.
Music, like Pantera.
No Pantera.
Oh.
But I was digging the soundtrack, so I might have to get the soundtrack. Anyways, she, is trying to get stuff to communicate back home, let them know she's still alive, that she's possibly being followed, and that they're looking for some light speed engine thing. So she's able to concoct something to use a payphone to get in touch with the commander. I mean, it's so goofy. But eventually she ends up getting cornered by the police and S.H.I.E.L.D. with Agent Fury. Samuel L. Jackson, who's
I'm
awesome in that
confused.
role.
I'm following you though. But
Yeah, and then also Colstein, one
I don't
other guy's there too as well. Anyways, the Fury, no, because I'm looking at Fury. The Skrull like start attacking, and Virus goes after the Skrull. They're on a train. There's a Stan Lee cameo because I think that's one of his last. I don't know if that is his last one, or if he ended up making one for the Avengers movie or not. So somebody knows, let me know down in the comments. I'm thinking he did one in the Avengers because he did it before his death. But anyways,
Okay.
and that's what was nice at the beginning. Backtracking a little bit, the Marvel logo, they were showing all of Stan Lee's cameos from his movies in the beginning, and then they
Well,
said,
that's cool.
"Thanks, Stan Lee," at the beginning. I'm backtracking.
That's
Anyways, she figures out she had run into this old lady while she was trying to get on the train, and then the old lady's on the train. So what it is the Skrull can adapt to anybody they see, so they can change their appearance. Well, she ends up seeing this old lady on the train and starts beating the shit out of her, and all the people are trying to get him off, like take her off of her. It's very
So it can imitate stuff.
yeah,
Like the Thing.
yeah. It kind of keeps changing the appearance and everything. Um, it's very funny because she's like beating the crap out of this old lady, and people are trying to stop her, and she's like, "Get off me," and everything. Well, the guy keeps changing his appearance, so it makes it hard to determine, where or who the person is. So basically, one of the Skrull also like was impersonating Agent Coulson, I think his name is. Um, Fury finds out, ends up wrecking the car to stop him, ends up killing the guy. So they're going on about how the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. need to find Virus before anybody else does. So as we're going, Virus goes to use like an internet cafe, trying to retrace her steps through her memories that were brought forth. And she keeps finding about this Project Pegasus with the Lightspeed agent and Dr. Wendy Lawson. And what happened is somehow in the middle of all this, she finds out that Lawson was actually a Kree person as well, like she's supposed to be. From the Kree. Kree. Kree.
Oh. Okay.
And she died in 1989, and that was 6 years ago. That's hence why 95. She somehow in the middle of all this, they find like they're going to Project Pegasus, trying to get all this stuff. They find a picture showing Virus in the background.
Convenient.
So she's like, okay, why is there a picture of me on Earth if I'm a Kree? So basically, the Skrull are trying to get her and everything. The commander and everybody's on their way. Chaos ensues. They do eventually escape because Fury realizes that the Skrull have infiltrated the shield by the use of his name at one point, because he's never referred to by Nick or anything, and his one superior refers to him as Nick. He's always referred to as Fury, so he figures out that the Skrull infiltrated. I think I'm skipping over a little bit here,
I'm
but
going to give me a quiz on this.
yeah. So eventually they do escape. They find this plane thing that they were able to escape
A
in.
plane.
Yeah.
Like an airplane.
It's a funky looking thing.
Cool.
But Virus can fly it. So eventually they go
I can fly good.
to try to find this friend that knew Dr. Lawson and her, Virus, back in a previous time. So they show up at this friend's house, and her friend's like, "Oh my God, they said you were dead. They never found your body or anything. All they found was part of her dog tag." And it turns out Virus's real name is Carol Devers, I think. And the Virus came from part of her dog tag.
Wow.
So what it comes down to is
this has too much fluff.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's like I said, it's amazing.
Okay.
So she's trying to go
me.
back to piece what happened and everything. And her friend saying, you and Lawson took off, the plane crashed, that was it, her body was found. Well, here, like I said, they said Lawson was a Kree, from the Kree civilization as well, and here her name was Marvel.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So eventually, while they're in the house, one of the Skrulls shows up, and he's like, I got the black box recording of everything. I want you to know the truth.
Be funny if her initials were DC.
So basically, they download the black box recording, because that's what her friend was like. They said the black box was lost, and and the scroll, I can't remember his name, was basically
George.
like, no, it wasn't that.
Bill?
Trevor's or something. He got a recording of it, and basically it's the black box shows everything that happened, or explains everything that happened, but they're showing it on screen. And basically, Wendy Lawson, basically realized that she was fighting on the wrong side of the war, and she didn't want her engine or the core or anything to get in the hands of the Kree, because it was going to be used for evil and not good, as she had always thought. So they're trying, Carol Bears was trying to fly Lawson out of there. And
Well, you must really follow this.
yeah,
Good.
and basically they end
Jeez.
up crashing.
Like me.
And Dr. Lawson basically starts explaining to Carol that she's not human and everything, and that we need to hide this. They were trying to get back to her laboratory, and she's like, well, where's your lab? I'll get you there. And she's like, no, there's no time. Then she gets up getting ready to shoot, and all of a sudden it's the commander that shoots Dr. Lawson, because they were looking for the core. Well, Carol grabs the gun, is like, I'm going to shoot you. And he's like, well, you're not worth anything. You're just a human and everything. And he was like, where's the core? And she's like, do you mean this? And she shoots it. Well, here, when she shoots it, she ends up absorbing all the power from the engine. So they kind of took her back to Hala and said she was Kree, and like basically washed her memories.
So it's Hala. Is this her name Foul?
Haha. So basically, Carol Veris, whatever you want to call her at this point, basically expresses like, okay, so Dr. Lawson found out she was on the wrong side of the war. And he's like, yeah, we just want the core so we can go. Basically, the scroll just want a home. They don't want to fight. They just want to be left alone. So
My brain hurts.
Your brain hurts. Oh, and I also forgot to mention about Goose the cat. Dr. Lawson had this cat. His name was Goose. I absolutely love this cat. Top Gun, if nobody can figure that out, Goose is one of the characters' names. But this cat isn't really a cat.
It's a dog.
No. It's some other creature from the Kree planet. So basically it comes out that the commander in that group are working with Ronan. If you guys have seen like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think the first Avengers movie he was in. He's Thanos' one son, I want to say.
Santa?
Thanos.
Oh, they said Santa.
No. Where did you get Santa out of Thanos?
I don't know where you get any of this stuff.
And basically, they were trying to get the core to give the Ronin for some reason. I didn't quite follow that piece.
Wow, a part you didn't follow.
But the commander basically figures out that Virus knows what's going on. So
I don't.
Yeah, they have this cat's with them everywhere. It's so hysterical.
Like an alien.
Yeah, excuse me. Now I'm burping. So they eventually refigure the ship that they stole and go into space. And here what it is Lawson's lab was in space at the coordinates they crashed at above. Because that was one thing Lawson kept saying to Carol was, remember these coordinates, you're going to need them someday. So they basically go in and they find the core that they were looking for that everybody wants. But they also find that Lawson was protecting some Skrull refugees, including the one Skrull that was helping them, his, I guess, wife and daughter. So she had been hiding them basically for 6 years to keep them safe. Well, eventually the commander and the crew show up and take the core and basically they're like, we're shooting everybody into space. We don't care who you are. And they basically start trying to reprogram Carol. But the Supreme Intelligence basically keeps going on, because I guess there's a thing on her neck that kind of controls her powers.
Ah.
But
like Frankenstein.
Yeah. So she goes and like the Supreme Intelligence is going on like, you're just a weak human and you're nothing without us. And then that's what Carol realizes. She takes off the thing and she has her powers no matter what. And she's like, that's the problem. I've been fighting with one hand behind my back because you haven't been letting me fully accept who I am. So basically she starts kicking ass.
Like you.
Yeah. Keeps fighting and everything. Well, then they're trying to divert everybody because they put the core in this old lunchbox that was there. So Carol takes the core out and she's trying to hand it to somebody. She goes, you guys get on the ship. I'll divert. Well, nobody wants to touch the core, and all of a sudden the cat does this like alien, these like tentacles come out of its mouth, and
I
it
like
takes,
the dog in the thing.
yeah, like that. And I was thinking
I
like
follow you on
Resident
that.
Evil, and it like swallows the core, and
I
they're
don't
like,
know those.
okay, what the hell is up with this cat? But it's just so, and it's so funny to see Samuel L. Jackson pet this cat and being all, woo, 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 oh, poor kitty, like throughout the
Samuel L.
movie.
Jackson and PG-13.
Yeah.
I thought he'd do the F-bomb every
No,
2
actually,
words.
no. No, it's like they always kind of cut him off right before.
What's the
So,
animated version of this?
yeah. So, anyways, they're going. They like she's causing the distraction. They eventually are able to escape the plane with escape the space lab with some other stuff going on. The commander ends up crashing on Earth, and
Like
then
me.
everybody else gets down to Earth safe. Well, it's not a totally unbumpy ride, but
It's rough going
basically
through
then
space.
Ronan shows up and he
Dodging asteroids.
starts like trying to bomb the Earth, and Captain Marvel kind of takes care of things.
I never did that.
And then Ronan decides to retreat, and he said we'll be back for her at some point or whatever. So he just had a very brief appearance. Then Carol finds the commander. Basically, he's going on like, you're finally living up to what you need. You don't need to use your power. And she like blasts him and is like, you know what? Screw you. I didn't need to prove myself to you this whole time, like you were telling me. So then she takes the ship he escaped in, puts him in it, programs it. And he's like, I can't go back empty handed. And she goes, oh, you're not. I'm giving you a message to take to the Supreme Intelligence. Tell them I will be coming to end this.
And
So
what?
then, because the Kree are basically trying to take over the solar system and put everybody under their rule.
That's not nice.
Yeah. So that's what she realized, she was fighting on the wrong
I
side.
wouldn't do that.
So basically they leave. She leaves. They're back at Carol's friend's house. Sorry, there was a bug flying by.
Oh, I thought you were trying to make a point.
No, there was a bug, and I just don't know if I got it or not. So they end up back at Carol's friend's place. I cannot remember her name. And they're all kind of
Susie.
eating around and eating dinner, and the Skrull were there, so they're discussing, about trying to find a home planet for them and everything. Fury tries to suck up the Goose. Goose scratches his eye, which leads to the eye patch he wears later in there. So, and at one point too, basically Carol decides that she's going to help the Skrull find a planet to call their own, find a home. So at one point earlier, she had taken Fury's pager because he was calling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in to help him, and she couldn't trust him. Well, she gives it back to him, but she reprogrammed it that if he needs help, he can call her. So, and she's like, before she gives it back, and she goes, for emergencies only. So, basically then she leaves with the Skrull to try to go help them find a home. Then it kind of cuts away to Fury. He's sitting at a desk typing up some stuff and discussing that they need to find more heroes.
I'm a hero.
And Coulson comes in and he's like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, she was from space, but who knows who's here on Earth. Well, then here while he's typing, he looks at the picture where Carol was in the background, and it's a Carol Avenger, Divers, whatever her last name was, and he takes the Avenger part and calls it the Avenger Initiative. And that's kind of how it ends.
Okay.
Goose the Cat's kind of hanging out with Fury in that part as well, because he still has the core. So the credits kind of start going, so we do have a couple things in the credits. The first thing is it shows the Avengers. There's who all was there? It was
Steve.
Bruce Banner, Captain America.
Bruce Wayne.
No. Oh my
Wonder
God, Scarlett Black Widow. I cannot remember her name. There was somebody else.
The Punisher.
It's one of the other. I can't remember who. I can see his face. I can't think of his name.
Oh.
But they're showing the pager, and all of a sudden it stops working. And they're like, okay, did it work? Did it not work? And they're saying, okay, we'll get that signal up and running. All of a sudden, Black Widow turns around. Captain Marvel standing there, and she's like, where's Fury? So obviously that part was picking up after the last Avengers, not the last, but the after the one Avengers movie where Thanos kind of got all the stones and people were turning to ash. So, yeah,
Like an Evil Dead.
ashes.
Oh.
And then at the very, very end, like I said, there's 10 plus minutes of credits, but then at the very, very end, it shows Goose in Fury's office. He's not there. All of a sudden, he's like coughing, like he's going to cough up a hairball. And all of a sudden, he coughs up the core. And that's kind of where it ends. And then it says to see more of Captain Marvel in the Avengers Endgame. So I have to review that yet. I absolutely love this movie. I cannot.
That's too much movie.
It's a lot of information, but like I said, I think for me, because I do follow some I watch some
for me.
Comic book movies, so it doesn't seem like a lot, even though I wasn't real sure with her background or everything, or what all she entailed. Like I said,
I like simple stuff.
I know she was originally a male character, but I know they've been changing up and making some of the characters female characters as their powers shift and everything to other people.
Okay.
So, like I said, loved it. I cannot wait to watch it again. I'm going to be holding my breath until I can see Endgame now that I watched it, just because there's a couple things in Endgame I was talking to coworkers about, and I'm like, I'm wondering about this, I'm wondering about that, but I haven't seen it yet. So, like I said, definitely recommend this. Definitely rewatch value for me. Maybe I'll eventually get this one to watch it.
That's too much movie for me.
Too much movie for you.
I like simple stuff.
So that is it for this review. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, bell icon so you know when we post new content. Share the page. It would be greatly appreciated. Amazon wish list is up. So if you want to help us out with anything, look on there. If there's something you want us to review, ask me if we have it. If not, I can add it if you're willing to get it. No pressure. Just little things to help the page. Check out my check out my other channel, K-Dog Games, Toys and More, for game and video.
What?
Game. Yeah, that's why I said toy and game reviews.
Oh.
I'm saying too much. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.